with the SMS team. So my name is Enima Enimado, and of course I'm here with the two baddest boys in radio, Kojo Youngson and Winston Amwa, and we've taken over your TV sets this morning. It's so great to be here.
Yeah,
isn't it? Isn't it?
Yeah,
guys?
it's going to be good fun. I think we've got quite a lot to get through. That was a nice song, right?
Yeah, interesting song.
Personally,
Enrico and D-Flex. I like how they were going.
Who and who?
Enrico and D-Flex.
Enrico and D-Flex. I cut the salad to the two of you. All right then. So shall we find out what's in the papers? Who's starting? Shall I go?
Well, let me start with the Daily Graphic that says that Galamsey Menace DC's chiefs must answer Asante Hene, and AMA Kole Klote ready for floods. Also on the front page, stakeholders engage on Clean Accra. We're still engaging on how to clean Accra. I thought we're supposed to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa by end of 2020. Well, the back page says work towards sustainable peace, unity. Chris Bodo urges Muslims, and Sub-Regional Monitoring Center for Fishing Vessels inaugurated. Right,
I've got the Daily Guide, and this morning on the front page, Agradaa Pays NCA debt. Sika Gari trial begins. Can you imagine if Agradaa would? I mean, that would certainly affect the credibility of her services, right? Okay, health workers trained on larval source management. Chief of Staff opens Public Relations Summit. And Nana at Museveni swearing in. Let's flip it on its back. And Herbert Mensah stunned by rugby union suspension. I want to play with Ronaldo, Neymar says. That sounds like my son when he sees his cousins. I want to play with. Anyway, so Akono names squad for 2 friendlies. And they are all here on the back page of the Daily Guide. Man City are England champs, also right there. Okay, let's have a look at the center spread. Lots of showbiz stories today. And one of my favorite people to look at, Genevieve Naji, stars in Fela Kuti legacy audio play. Dana, somewhat humbled by Ga Chiefs. My dad made me fall in love with music. Janaya X is the one declaring that. Angelina Jolie opens up on putting career on hold. Yeah, she's been out of the limelight for quite a while. And here's my senior from Ogasco, Professor Samuel Enim, government statistician, saying that inflation drops to 8.5%, forgive me. 8.5%. GRA clears air on alleged harassment. Reverend Amishadai Usam was the one saying that. Manage National Development Bank properly. Professor Peter Korte with that admonition. And Trade Minister launches GEPA Information Center. Trade Minister has been out and about quite a bit in the past few days. He was at Jatta Cement. Made in Ghana. So
yes, made in Ghana.
He was celebrating Ibrahim Mahama.
It's good to celebrate made in Ghana. So I mean, that was a good thing to do.
Yes, and Ghanaian entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, for me, I think that's the key. When the Ghanaian is doing well, we should be excited.
We should.
And I was excited that all over social media, you had everyone congratulating him for what he's done, because whatever happens, yes, we will talk about made in Ghana, but even I like the point about Ghanaian entrepreneurs, because yes, made in Ghana, I can register a company in Togo and say it's made in Togo, but I'm Ghanaian. So if you have a Ghanaian establishing a company right here in Ghana and employing Ghanaians, and once he gets money, he would invest in other sectors of the Ghanaian economy. Charlie, you have to comment that guy.
Yeah, we have to. Top 20 richest Africans. There isn't a single Ghanaian.
Yeah.
That's not right. This is Ghana. We ought to be, filling the spaces on that list. And so I'm excited.
Okay, well, let me do the front page of the Ghanaian Times. And 61 chieftaincy cases pending at the Western Regional House of Chiefs. Asante Hene joins fight against Galamsey. He's asking for punishment for illegal miners. Policeman grabbed over 100,000 Ghana cedi recruitment scam. Let's go to the middle page. Same stories there, pretty much. Okay, the back page, a corner-named squad for Morocco, Cote d'Ivoire friendly matches, and Hearts halts Beckham United's home run. So some football there. There's lots of interesting stories inside the paper. Lots of crime going on. Man jailed 11 years for unlawful entry and stealing. 3 get 15 years for engaging in galamsey. So that fight against galamsey really, really going on there. There's a story about taking French language seriously to leverage AFCFTA. And I remember learning French. I failed French. It's one of the things I failed in my life.
You failed French at what level?
Level 100. I failed French.
That was more like a core subject.
It was a required course because je suis, tu sors, nous sommes.
At a point, yes.
Did you also do French at a point?
Oh, oui. Tout in case, je ne go fit speaker le French.
Yeah, no.
Je me force.
Oh, no. C'est pas français.
You know, we're setting Winston to show, setting him up to show.
Give us a lecture right now. We beg.
But anyone was still reminded me of something. So when I was at the University of Cape Coast in level 200, now we're done French literature, and Charlie, I didn't like my grade, so I went to the DPU, where we normally would go and add and drop courses.
Yes.
And I was doing secretarial expression in French. So I went and said, I beg, drop this course for me. And the man asked, why is everybody dropping the course? And I said, sure, because people have decided not to do French again. It was just too difficult at the time. It was very, very, particularly as an elective subject. And I've never been a fan of literature, so just imagine going to read French literature. I said no.
I know what shit.
But if you ask me today, I'd say I regret that decision.
Not learning French.
I can still speak French, but I feel I should have completed with French and English. It would have been better if I'd read French and English at the university, but...
Well, moi, je n'ai regretté le cra.
That means
still,
what?
just because small.
I had a friend like that, the late Astonish, may he continue to rest in peace. And a lecturer, Monsieur Chivanyo, always liked him because he tried to speak French. He would mix it up with what you're doing.
To me understand, Pap. When I meet you in the morning,
the thing about Kojo's French, though, is that the actual French won't understand his French.
Oh, come on.
It's Ghanaians, because it's mostly English, though,
so
mixed with a bit of
if I meet a
tree.
French person and I'm like, qu'est-ce que ça? Won't you understand what I'm saying?
Qu'est-ce que ça?
Qu'est-ce que ça, yo?
He might confuse us to mean qu'est-ce que ça? What's that?
Not smart enough, turn everything into, hey.
Oh no, I'm just trying to draw your attention to the right thing.
What else is in the paper?
Let me get to the center spread of the daily graphic that says Church of Pentecost hands over prison camp to government. There's been some section of Ghanaians commending them for what they've done. Another section has asked the question, why have they done that? But I'm saying, we all saw the documentary by Seth Kwame Boateng. We all, saw the situation in our prisons. And so if a church decides to help in the reformation of Ghanaians, I see absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Plus, actually, it's far more in line with the mission of the Christian faith than many other things that churches do. Okay, so where else will you find the greatest number of, greatest concentration of sinners, if not in a prison, right? And if your job is to win souls, then building a prison is a very smart way of doing that. The idea is that it must reform. You can't go into prison and come out worse.
You shouldn't go into prison and come out worse.
You ought not go into prison and come back worse.
Yes.
You're right. So I think what the church is doing is actually very smart. And if indeed that is the purpose of our faith, then more churches should do this.
Great. Kojo, there's a story on page 13 of the Daily Graphic. Stakeholders engage on Clean Accra, and we're told that the Greater Accra Regional Minister, Henry Quartier, he's charged corporate institutions within the capital to bear some level of responsibility and support the sanitation campaign to make Accra clean. Now, I'm asking some basic questions. The district assemblies are expected to charge us for the waste we generate, and so we pay for waste collection. government or the government through the district assembly is also recruited, or contracted some firms to be in charge and zoned all the district and asked them to be in charge of waste collection. We've seen all these things happening. So what other things must we do to ensure a clean Accra?
I get worried. I get worried because, look, these stakeholder engagements and workshops, and it's all procurement. Okay, I mean, people will be hired to organize these things. So, at the end of it, there will be all kinds of materials printed, and then you will see, hotel bills and all of that we have to pay for such meetings. So if you go to such a meeting and you come out with not even one thing that is different from what we have been proposing and failing to do in the past, isn't that willfully causing financial loss to the state? If we are continuing to have these meetings and stakeholder engagements and the output is the same as what we've been doing for years, because there isn't a single new idea, not one, then are we not wasting money?
We are. And the challenge is, consistently we talk about, these are the things we're supposed to do. Polluter pay system. We must ensure that, so we hire, waste management firms and they're sweeping roads in Accra. And we think that's the end of it. What happened to our basic governance principle of a decentralized system? Look, what saddens me is that you live in a country where we're supposed to have unit committee members. They are the implementers of the decentralization process. And then you have, town and area councils who are the managers of the decentralization process. You have the General Assembly, that's the executive. I mean, they would enact laws and all of that. But the question simply is, if at this level we cannot get districts to be clean, what is the essence of actually transferring power and funds to these districts?
Yeah.
What's the essence? Because the whole idea of a decentralized system is to create even competition between districts. So I know that, okay, I live in Ga East Municipal Assembly. If you live in, say, Ga South, and Ga South is better, it should actually trigger some bit of a competition. We'll take our assembly on and say, Ga East Municipal Assembly, you constructed a road this year, which is true, and the road is in a deplorable state already. So why did you do that? Because if you go to Ga Central, Ga West, their roads are not in those deplorable states. All these things we write on paper, but we never get to implement them as a country. Look, it's like the gun, and I keep saying this, using your mouth to weed. So when you come here, so today I'll weed the whole of Kokomlemele, and you're still standing at the same place. We talk too much in this country, talk only, no action, and that has been the bane of this country's development.
So in essence, Ghana is not decentralized. It's not.
Ghana
The only thing we have decentralized is corruption.
Well, but let me quote Ahoy to buttress your point. Professor Kwame Ahoy says Ghana practices a central government supply-driven decentralization.
What is that?
So the point is, even though you are transferring power and funds, and under decentralization, delegation, deconcentration, and devolution. As for deconcentration, you still would go to Accra for all the things you want to do. And when it comes to delegation, some of the things you can do on your own, and devolution is the highest form of decentralization. We're actually trying to practice a bit of a blend between delegation and devolution in this country. But what we have seen is that in many of the instances, it's just an extension of Accra to the districts. So government sits in Accra and procures for the districts and deducts funds from the district assembly's common fund to pay for it.
Kojo.
Yeah.
Is Winston going to give us a certificate for the lecture he's just given us on devolution and decentralization?
If we pass the exam.
Yes. There must be an exam after this one, because this one, but let me stay with the decentralization, devolution, and something else. Well, the AMA and the Kole Klote have said that they are ready for the floods, and because we know that we're approaching the rainy season, so they are saying that, okay, well, they're ready. This is how they are ready. They're ready because they've built a few more drains, expanded some of the existing drains, and are educating the masses on how to get rid of rubbish properly. Because we know that because we know that
they've never done that before.
Oh, they have. They are re-educating because you know that. Oh, stop. You know that
they are building a few more drains.
They are expanding some of them. They have. Behave yourself, Kojo. They have, you know that the rubbish blocks the drains and then prevents the water from flowing. So they're telling people, you know, not to dispose of their rubbish indiscriminately so that the drains don't get blocked. But this is quite funny because I was saying this on the radio, I think 2 days ago, that I went by the Odona and it was already quite full and full of rubbish already, and it hasn't actually started raining yet. So I'm not too sure about this. I think it's worth following up because, you know, every single year, you know, we say we're ready for the floods and then it starts to rain and then we get into trouble with it. So
this year we may not have enough floods. Metro is telling us that we may not have enough rains. So though it's going to affect our planting season when it comes to properties being destroyed as a result of flooding. We'll be spared that, but it tells you what the Ghanaian has become.
So should we make this their KPI, you know? So AMA, Kole Klote, if they say they are ready, let's make this their KPI. It will rain. So if it rains and there are floods and we have destruction of property and we have, you know, people dying, then they have essentially failed, and then they must be sanctioned or sacked or whatever.
You see, the sanction, well, it will work if they were being elected. So you and I will decide that we vote them out.
But you see, that's not sacking.
No, but you see,
where we think we have power every 4 years.
But you see, the point is, as it stands now, if a president is happy with you, you stay. Unless your assembly members decide that they're going to pass a vote of no confidence in you. But the interesting thing is that we have seen government appointees in an assembly is 1/3. Government appointees in an assembly is 1/3. And it's happened before. I mean, the appointees were changed overnight and new appointees brought in to actually pass a DCE. The point is, if you want to sack a DCE today and you're trusting the president to sack the DCE, it'll be difficult.
So, okay, I mean, our job, right? Our job as the media is to hold their feet to the fire. So, if they have made such a declaration that they are ready, I think it's our responsibility to check them and hold them up to it. And if indeed the rains come and we see destruction and death, then we have to ask the president. I mean, you appointed these people. Do you want to be associated with failure? We must ask him that question fairly. And if he keeps them in place as his response to us, then we know what he means by that. I think maybe that should be the way forward. Because waiting 4 years before we tell you how we feel, that it doesn't work for me. That's not democracy. Not every 4 years that we are democratic.
This one is talking about inflation. The fact that inflation is dropped from...
Which page is this?
This page 30 of the Daily Graphic. Inflation is reduced from 10.3% to 8.5% in April.
Wow.
So on the average, you know, the rate of increase is actually reducing. So prices of goods and services are increasing at a reducing rate.
At a decreasing rate.
At a decreasing rate, yes. They are increasing at a decreasing rate.
Yeah.
So as in, it was 10.3, and now, compared to that, it's gone
so
up
if every day
8.5%.
something was going up by 50%, now by 50 pesos, now every day the same thing is going up by, let's say, 30 pesos.
If you're looking at 50 pesos and this, it will go up by...
doing the actual maths.
I'm just saying this is hypothetical.
Example.
Yes.
Hey, Professor
So this is coming from the statistical service.
Yes.
And so I guess the thing that as a Ghanaian you now start doing in your head is that, okay, if these people are right, if what they're telling us is true, that means that last year prices increased more than they have this year. That's what this is telling us, right? So then I cast my mind back to last year. Did I feel that the increase in prices last year was more than this year's? I mean, do you feel that way?
I think how we translate inflation, how the average Ghanaian translates inflation, not those who really understand the economics of it, like Winston, is that, you know, when you hear inflation returns to single digit and drops from this to this, it doesn't mean much because the price is still going up. It only means something when the price is not going up. Do you know what I mean? Like how face masks have dropped from, they went from 150 to 70 to 50, and now they are 20 cedis.
Maybe that's what's driving.
That's what we understand by something has gone down. But you know, when something is still going up and you are saying no, it's decreasing, it's counterintuitive. You know, when you don't really get the economics for the average.
I think that the basket, they have a basket, a lot of, things they use in calculating the average.
Is it a cane basket? Or
No. I mean, a basket is, lots of goods and services that are used in calculating inflation rate. And so some may have, increased marginally. And so that would actually draw draw the overall rate down. You understand? So assuming we're using Enimwa, Kojo, and Winston to calculate something. Now, Winston increases by 10%. Enimwa increases by 5%. And Kojo increases by 2%. If we add this, it will give us 17. If we divide it by 3, you're looking at getting about 6%. Now, the challenge is, I have increased by 10%. So the one who purchases me a lot is seeing an increase of 10%.
It's a holiday. My head is spinning me.
Hey! You understand?
Winston and maths. Okay. So
should we do my joy online?
Let's go my joy online. By the way,
yes.
Did you note that there's nothing at all about Caleb Kuda?
Yes, still in the newspapers.
In the newspapers. Well, let's see what's online. Let's have a look at myjoyonline.com.
Okay, I have it here. Top story. I was slapped, kicked in the groin by national security officials. City FM's Caleb Kuda recounts ordeal. And that was yesterday. He was interviewed by Bernard Afle. Both he and Zoe Abubedu.
If we have a minute, I'd love to say something about that.
Sure, go ahead.
Should we do it now?
Yeah, sure,
okay.
Go ahead.
There's a lot of conversation about this on social media. And anytime somebody raises the question of how Caleb Kuda was treated, somebody counters with the question of why did he disobey the sign that says no photography. So I think maybe we should deal with it all right? You shouldn't disobey signs. But signs are not laws.
No,
so if you disobey a sign, for example, if it says formal wear only, and I come in a t-shirt, you throw me out. So if it says no photography, and I come and take pictures, you delete the pictures and you throw me out. The slapping and kicking in the groin, the beating up, the handcuffing and transporting to the TV station to go and chase his female colleague into the kitchen. Those are the things that don't match the offense, if indeed it is an offense.
Yeah, well, it's not even an offense.
So that's the thing I don't understand. Let's try and understand that, first of all, you can't arrest someone unless the person has broken a law. So which law did Caleb Kuda break?
He broke no law. You see, you cannot arrest somebody for that which is not written. And any offense is written and a punishment attached to it.
Yeah.
So what is the punishment? There is
Good
none.
question.
That is the punishment. Look, for those who are trying to justify these things, let me say, okay, that we're building a nation. And irrespective of who is in government, the nation building process must go on. And the country called Ghana, which we all love so much, must be a better country than it was yesterday. We cannot go back and say, but what was he doing there? For Christ's sake, the young man was going to find out, whether indeed those vehicles,
verify a story.
Yes, those vehicles that said had been distributed. He saw the vehicles there anyway.
Yes, and so let me move on to the next story, which says over 90% of rotten vehicles at national security premises distributed, former Maslock boss is saying. But we also saw the communique that came and said that they had all been distributed.
So why don't you open it up for verification?
But now, now
Instead
it's 90%.
slapping people who go to verify.
Exactly. Okay, another story, hashtag fix the country. Be measured in your expectation of Akufo-Addo due to COVID-19. That's according to the Chief of Staff. My question to her is why should we be measured in our expectations? He has been making promises, regardless of COVID-19. And Kojo, do you want to do
this one is interesting. I think it was, don't shake your car when fueling.
Do you see people doing that?
All the time. This is a transport consultant who gives this advice. In fact, it's a warning and admonition. Don't do it. Don't shake your car when fueling. And if you read the story, it'll tell you that, by the way, this is Jacob Amumensa from Top Tech who says this, Top Tech Transport and Logistics. Okay, so he's saying that, look, with the fuel tank, when you put in more fuel, there should be a space left for air to mix with the fuel. The moment you shake it, it covers all the space, and that could spark a fire. Sometimes you see people's cars burning, and they can't do anything about it. Shake it.
Yeah, and then when you go to the fuel pumps and you say, you're filling up, they ask you, should I shake it? Because the thing, they feel like when you shake it, then it fills the spaces, then you can actually, get a real filling,
But the truth is that, look, somebody can you make a car?
I wonder who the idea originated.
Very good point. Can you manufacture a car?
No.
I can't manufacture a car either.
Certainly not.
People who can.
Maybe Winston.
Have designed these things so that when you are filling your tank and it's full, you hear a click.
Yes.
Somebody has done the work. Then you see a taxi driver.
Yeah, shaking
it because he knows better than Toyota or Shell.
Yeah.
He is smarter than them. So he's shaking his car to fill it because you see, these are some of the things we do. There's a word for it. I'll find it for you. People who, anyway. Look, please don't do it. It's not safe. You could start a fire. That's the last thing you want to do.
And burn your own car. Yeah.
When it's full, it will click. When it clicks, stop.
Okay, well, we're going to take a break now. And when we come back, we'll bring you sports.